Alright guys, my first informational YouTube video. This is a 2011 Ford Expedition. I'm going to show you today how to change a door lock actuator in one of the rear doors. So I looked on YouTube, didn't see a whole lot of informational videos about this, so like I said, I figured I'd show you guys today. Alright guys, so the first thing you're going to want to do is to take off this little lock mechanism, and it just unscrews, so you just twist it counterclockwise and you can take that right off. My suggestion is to leave this in the locked position and push it down before unscrewing it, because it'll make it easier whenever you have to pull the door panel off to be able to lift it up and over this little threaded bolt like piece that's down in the door. Here's the suggested tools I have for the next part. To remove the door panel, I'd suggest a 7mm, which you'll need an extension or a short extension, maybe a 1/4-inch ratchet, a Phillips screwdriver, and possibly a couple flatheads. You will be prying up a door to remove, and you'll need to use a flathead or two to pry that. You'll have one screw that is a Phillips, so there's your Phillips, and you'll have 5 7mm bolts. So that'd be your list of tools to remove the door panel. All right, guys, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver and a 7mm socket. There are going to be 6 different screws on this door, 5 of which are the 7mm and 1 that's a Phillips. First one we're going to look at is going to be right here. That's going to be your Phillips head. You're going to come down here at the bottom of the door, and you'll have a 7mm here. On the inside of the door, there'll be another 7mm right in here. And then looking down into the handhole, you're going to flip this little door up. You'll need to pry and flip that up, and then there's going to be 2 7mm in there. And then back behind this little door, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little bitty plate in there. You have to pop the plate off. There's a 7mm back there. So take those out, and I'll have a picture here in just a second to show you guys exactly which ones to remove. I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, let's get our 7mm in there and take this one out next. All right, so now is where we take the door panel off. You're gonna want to lift on the back side of the door panel and then take the front off last. Remember, you have the door latch here, so don't break that off. You'll be lifting against that the whole time, so try not to break this. Back first, then the front. Yeah, go up. Pop that off, then turn around, go to the other side. This one's a lot tougher to do. All right, you can kind of see it hanging there now. Door handle's open. Got to take off the clip that goes to the power window, and I'll show you that here in just a second. All right, so back behind the door panel, we got this wire coming by the speaker. You'll see it's got a little clip on it right here. All you do is just squeeze in on that little clip. See if I can zoom in on that clip. You squeeze in on the clip and pull down. There it is. All right, everybody, this is what you should be left with when you take the door panel off. I know lifting that door panel off is kind of a pain. Maybe some will say not, and that's fine too, but I'll tell you, I've done a lot of door panels where you just yank them straight off with rivets and little plastic rivets or nylon rivets or something. It's so much easier, but lifting this thing off is kind of a pain, especially because you have this door handle. If it wasn't for having a door handle there, I'm sure it'd lift right off, no problem. But anyway, from here, you have this plastic. All it has is this little goo right here. So all you're really gonna do is grab your plastic, and I've been trying to keep as much of this goo on one side or the other, but it doesn't really matter. So you're just gonna grab this and you're gonna pull it off. So like this, just start pulling, and you'll be pulling back about, I'd say, half or so of this thing, because you're gonna be making access to put your hand through this hole right here. So most of our work's gonna be done through this hole. And then you'll see in a little bit, we're going to be using a flathead screwdriver through this little child safety lock hole. It's pretty clever, but anyway, just yank about half this off. Doesn't really matter. You're not going to hurt anything. Just pull that thing back. You got to have access to this hole. You're going to need access through here, and then you can see your little door lock that goes up and down. So anyway, we'll stop right there for just a second, and then I'll get some tools together and get you guys squared away. All right, so here's the plastic pulled back, and there's a little hand hole. I just want to show you guys what I'd look inside of there to see exactly what the door lock actuator looks like and what you'll be dealing with next. All right, guys, so going inside of the door here through that hand hole, you'll see the black box. That is going to be your door lock actuator. You've got two plugs right there at the bottom, gray and black. The black one has a squeeze clip. You should be able to squeeze that with your hand and unplug it. And then the gray one's kind of the tricky one. You'd want to use like a flathead screwdriver right down there at the bottom, and that's where the clip is. You pry it down just a bit and you pop that plug off. If you have any complications with that, I wouldn't stress too much. You can always take these plugs off once you take it out of the door. It might actually be easier. I personally like to take the plugs off before, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said, you should be able to pull all these out of the door and then take them off. Like I said, should be easier. I also want to show you guys this on the outside of the door. There's these, your wire will be clipped right into here. I would suggest taking that out and popping this out as well. Anything that you can will help you get a little bit more ease of clearance, because if you don't pop this out, it'll be hard to take that door lock actuator out of this hole. So you want to pop this out, and again, this is just that braided steel cable that goes to the handle. Cable clip undone. Next part is going to be taking these 3 bolts out of the door. To do this, you're going to need, I would suggest getting a 1/4-inch ratchet. If you have one of those little adapters that will allow you to adapt to a bit driver, that's what I would do. I don't know if we can get this camera to focus or not. Looks like it's not going to do it. Yeah, there it is. So a T27 Torx is what you're going to want, T27 Torx. And that's what you're going to be using to take out all 3 of these on the door. So we'll go ahead and take those out, guys, and then we will come back in just a second, and I'll show you what to do from there. All right, I wanted to mention, whenever you take these bolts out, you will notice that they have blue thread lockers. So whenever you guys put these back in, my suggestion would be to clean these just a bit and go ahead and put some blue thread locker back on every one of these bolts. So you'll see as these come out that all 3 of these have blue thread locker on them. So like I said, just make sure you guys put some blue thread lock back on whenever they come out. My suggestion, these will receive a lot of jarring from this latch and things, so make sure and throw a little bit back on them. All right, we'll finish taking these out. So your whole assembly kind of falls and your child safety lock kind of falls. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll fix that here in just a minute. We're going to now grab from the inside of the door through this hole right here, and we will be pulling that whole actuator and all that through. Be careful, guys, with this piece right here. If this thing is not locked, I would push it down and make sure you get it locked, because it makes it much easier to get this rod out. You definitely don't want to break that. So when you're pulling it out through that hole, you're going to want to make sure you do not break this. Also, you need to look in here though, and there is a very important piece. So right there is a green clip. You're not going to be able to pull that actuator out until you undo that green clip right there. So that green clip is very, very important. It's holding the actuator from coming out currently. So you need to unclip that green clip, and I'll show you guys how to do that. All right, so I'm back here with a flathead screwdriver. I want everyone to go through this child safety lock hole you can shine a light through over here, and you're going to run your screwdriver through this hole, and you're trying to find that green clip. You'll see where my screwdriver's at now. I'm literally going to get on the back side of that green clip just like this. We're going to pry outward. You'll see I popped that green clip open. I'm going to use my screwdriver to kind of push it further away. And then you'll see that there's a little connecting rod in there, and I'm going to use my screwdriver to pry this over. See how I popped that out? That's what you're going to want to do. And that is also attached, like I said, to that actuator, the whole piece. So you're going to definitely want to make sure you undo that green clip, or you will be breaking a piece to the outside mechanism of your door, and you don't want to do that. So again, make sure you do that green clip. It's a very, very important. Now let's go ahead and pull the actuator through the hole in the door right there. I'll see you guys in a second when I've got it pulled through. All right, so since I did the other door already, kind of learned the tricks, just wanted to show you guys that you can go ahead and pull this out. Once you've unclipped those two clips, this one and the wire from right there, you'll be able to pull the whole assembly out, and you'll see that I still have the plugs attached. No big deal, came right out. You will be kinking this. You'll feel a little bit of tension on this whenever you're turning it. Just make sure that the bottom right here with the plugs on it comes out of the door first when you're twisting it and pulling it through that hole. If not, you could kink this braided cable, and you really don't want to be doing that. You'll probably break something. Anyway, so next thing we're going to do is remove both of these plastic clips. As you'll see, like I said, you've got the gray clip here that you're just going to use a flat head on. Just peel it just enough so that it gets over that little nub there and pull the plug out. Here, you're going to be squeezing that plastic clip. Squeeze that plastic clip and pull it right off. And those two plugs, once they're off, this actuator can be removed, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. All right, guys, so on this next part, once we get the plugs out of this, I'll show you kind of where we're at. Got both plugs hanging there. You got to be able to get this plastic actuator off the outside of here. So in order to do that, there will be a plastic clip, and I'll stop this video, flip the camera around, and I'll go ahead and show you guys where that clip's at. But I'll get my screwdriver on it and pry it real quick and show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, so here we go. To remove that actuator, once you have those plugs off, we're going to zoom down in here, and you're going to see a little clip, plastic clip right there. And that's actually bumped up against a piece of metal, and it stops you from being able to get this actuator off. So what you need to do is get a flathead screwdriver, and you're going to put it down in between where this nub is and the top of this. So there's a little hole there, and you're going to pry it back like this. So just like that. See how that moves? So whenever that moves, we're going to make it clear that little nub on the metal, and then you're going to start pulling it towards you and slide it right off of these rails. So there's a rail right there. On this side, there's a rail right there, and once you push that back again, you'll be able to slide this thing right off towards you. So just pull on that assembly, and it'll slide, it'll pop right off. If you have any trouble with it, just let me know. All right, guys, here's the old door lock actuator. It'll have a indicator on it, LH, left-hand side for the driver's side. I also wanted to note that whenever you get the part, I'll leave a link to the part in the description, but here's the one that I ended up getting, and you'll see the L on it too. So as long as you make sure you have left. On this particular vehicle, the left-hand rear and left-hand front will be the exact same actuator. And then again, the part that goes on the right-hand side of the vehicle, passenger side, the passenger side front and passenger side rear will be the exact same part. So all you'll want to do is just make sure your left hand there matches with your left of your part number that you're putting back on. Things will line up great. All right, everyone, I'd like to take this time to mention, whenever you're getting ready to slide on your new actuator, before doing that, this particular vehicle has about 113,000 miles on it. Came from Texas, so it is quite rough as far as some salt and things like that. If you live in one of those areas, or if you see any rust on some of your parts, a couple things you could do is maybe use a little bit of sandpaper and try and sand some of that off. You could even like spray finish it or something too if you want to. All I'm going to do, though, I'm going to go ahead and leave things the way that they are, but I would suggest, you'll see some like really old, let me see if I can zoom in, guys. Give me just a second here. You'll see some really old grease in there that's kind of deteriorated and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and take some grease, and I'm going to slap on this. I just would use whatever household grease you have. Since this came from Texas, like I said, could have some like saltwater areas, and I plan on going back to Texas quite frequently with this vehicle. I'm going to go ahead and probably use some marine grade grease. So I'm going to go get a tube of marine grease and goop it and stick it all in every single bit of crack and crevice of this thing. because it definitely needs re-greased. As a matter of fact, as of right now, the little switch right here, the child lock switch, won't even move. It's so jammed. So just want to let you guys know to go ahead and re-grease. It's a great time to re-grease components. This, and then as you can see in here, this is actually your window regulator motor. There's a rail on the inside, and you'll kind of see it. Where's it at? Yeah, see, there's a big rail right here. On the inside of the back side of this rail, your window moves up and down on this rail. So it might be a good idea to go ahead and use some grease, slap it on the back side of that rail too. That's probably what I'll do. So we'll take this time to do some preventative maintenance, re-grease the rail, and re-grease all the moving components of this guy here. And then I'll slide that new door lock actuator on here, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like whenever I get back. All right, so we got our new part installed. Guys, just make sure whenever you put this on, it's pretty snug whenever you slide these on. So just make sure that you have it slid so that that clip that we talked about prying on to get it off is past that metal nub on the inside of that thing. You're going to want to make sure and push this on pretty firm. And one way you'll know also is to make sure that that little stub sticks through the hole on the back side. That will be your little lock rod or whatever that went up to the top of the door. And then this little nub right here, you're going to want to make sure it goes through that hole. And that's what's going to let your automatic lock actuator move up and down to cycle your door locked and unlocked. So just wanted to mention that. Make sure you guys have everything together. And then, like I said, we're going to throw some grease on it, and I'll show you guys what it looks like here in just a second. This is the part where you're going to start getting your hands pretty dirty, because you're definitely going to get grease all over your hands doing this. But like I said, I really feel like preventative maintenance, sometimes we got to get our hands dirty. So I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, now we're going to go ahead and put these plugs back, those plugs that we pulled off earlier. These are two separate plugs, even though they're both only 2-prong plugs. But what you'll notice is the black plug goes on the gray end, and then the black actuator motor, the gray plug goes on the black. So it's gray plug to black, black plug to gray. Kind of weird, but that's the way it is. We're going to go ahead and, like I said, I'll finish my grease job. We'll grease up this side and be back in just a moment. All right, so I'm back with you guys. You'll see I really gooped up the grease kind of around that where that rod's at. That little yellow piece moves back and forth. So I just pretty much filled that with quite a bit of grease. It looks like a lot. There is a lot on the outside, but I was just hoping some of it could work its way onto the inside of it. But anyway, so I just gobbed some grease right there, gobbed some grease there. And then I did put a little bit of grease on the actuator motor itself, kind of equivalent to where it was, you know, on the original one. So just a couple thoughts. We'll go ahead, now that we put the plugs on, so we'll go ahead and run it back through our special hole here. And once we get in there, I'll show you exactly what to do next. We're basically doing everything in reverse order. Next thing we'll want to do is kind of look in there, and we're going to look for that green clip again that we talked about. So I will go ahead and put this back in there, get it lined up, and then I'll show you guys what to do next. All right, so what I did here was I went ahead and just I held the door lock actuator up, and I put one bolt in by hand. Make sure you put your blue thread lock on that bolt before you put it in. Then I came over, used my light, shine it through, and you'll see in here, I hope, what you want to know is that you can hold this up by this hole, the lock piece, and that's what I did. I just held it up through this hole while I wedged it with my hand, and then reached through when my right hand was holding the actuator, and I started one bolt. If you do that, then it'll allow you, as long as you check beforehand and make sure that your other connecting rod is in the right spot. Look up inside of there, you'll see our little connecting rod hanging out. I'm gonna try and wedge my hand in here. Can't really do that with the camera going. Let's see if I can focus in there, man. This thing's kind of a mess. It's because that connecting rod's a pain in the butt. There we go. All right, guys, so let's sneak our hand in here. Let's see if we can line this stupid thing back up. So we go around the back. This is easier said than done. it is a bit difficult to do, a little bit frustrating, but like I said, take your time, guys. So now we've got that wedged in there. I can take my thumb, push this clip over. You're gonna push it until you feel it pop and clip close. And then that's gonna have that latch will be latched in, things will be good, okay? So then we're gonna go ahead and slowly back up so you can see kind of what I was doing. I was using this little hole to peek through, and I was using that hole with my right hand to go through here to latch that. So this can be done, guys. Be patient with this. It's not too terrible of a deal. Just make sure you take your time. Don't get frustrated. That's the key to all this stuff anyway. So that's where we're at. We have that rod up through the door. We have one bolt in. From here, we're going to go ahead and attach the last 2 bolts, tighten these down to spec, and then we'll go ahead and get ready to start putting this plastic back on. This plastic has this gooey stuff on it. No big deal. You can just reuse it. So I would just take this stuff, put it back on the door. If you find that this stuff does not stick, so let's say you're in a cold climate or something and this isn't sticking back to the door, what you can do is, I'm kind of in a heated garage with quite the heater. What I do is you can use a blow dryer if you got a lady at home. You can use a heat gun, whatever you want, but run some low heat on the back side of this, guys, and it'll heat back up and get more tacky. And whenever it's heated and tacky, you can stick it right back to the door, and it will stick back in here to the door. So don't stress if this stuff doesn't want to hold anymore. It will. You're just going to have to heat it up a little bit. So that's what we're looking at now, guys, and I will go ahead and end this video for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put these bolts back in. You guys want to put those in. And you want to line this back up over the door where it's supposed to go, and stick it back to the door. Like I said, heat it if you need to. I'll be back in a minute, and I'll finish this video and show you guys how to get this door panel back on. Also, don't forget, everyone, that there is the clipping the wire back, and make sure you clip this piece back on as well. Don't forget to do that. So after you've hung the door actuator, you've made sure that your latch or your lock pieces where it's supposed to be, etc., etc. Make sure you get the wire back in here and this in here, because you definitely don't want this pinched later, kinked, or something crazy short. So just remember that, guys. All right, let's go ahead and tighten this last one down. All right, there's all 3 of them. Child safety locks there. And doors back together. All right, guys, the next thing I'd like to suggest is, you got this little plastic here. I understand that this whole piece of plastic is just for like noise isolation, wind, blah, 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 etc. But I am going to make another suggestion. So whenever you put these clips in, the door panel has like 6 clips in it. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, these things, I'm just going to tell you, the back's not hard to put on, but the front up here next to this handle is an absolute pain in the butt. So what I'm going to tell you guys is, if you can trim the plastic away from just the bottom of this lip on each one of these, just the bottom, okay, this will make it so that you have just literally a smidge more of clearance. You'll see how this plastic kind of lays over this lip here. Every single bit of clearance that you can help yourself with is going to help you get this door panel back on, because I'll assure you, this door panel is not fun to put back on. So just take it from me. Make sure you trim the plastic. Not a lot of plastic, guys. Don't go trimming big holes. Just trim where the hooks are going to pop over the bottom. So the bottom of each hole, if there's plastic laying on it, trim that plastic off to give yourself every little bit of help that you can, because you're going to need it, okay? Okay, so you'll see where kind of trim that plastic. You'll see it still goes in here on like this one, but you don't want it to go over that metal lip if you can help it. You'll see how that one's trimmed. And just like I said, it's not easy to get this door panel back on, just like it's not that easy to yank it off. So do yourself a favor and try your best to get clearance, get everything perfectly ready to get this thing put back on. We're gonna go ahead and get the door panel. We're gonna take this clip right here. We're gonna clip him back into the door for the window. So let's go ahead and grab the door panel now and go ahead and put this clip back in. Get ready to hang this door panel. We'll be hanging the front first. So the front next to the door handle will actually be put on first. It's the hardest to get on. If you put the back on first, I can almost guarantee you won't be able to get the front on. So let's start putting the front on, make sure the clips align and go in first. This might take you some time. Again, trying your hardest not to get frustrated. Don't let it win. Because this will kind of be a challenge. You may even have to lay on the ground and pick up on the bottom of the door to push this in. Again, the concern is breaking the door handle off. We definitely don't want to do that either. So, but, you know, just give yourself plenty of time to get this part done. Once you have the front hung on, then we'll go ahead and put the back on, and you'll know that it's smooth sailing from there. But you've got to get that front on. So good luck, guys. Make sure you don't forget to put your door handle first through the door panel after attaching your plug, and then let's go ahead and get the door put back on. All right, so the door panel's back on. I had my assistant over here. She helped me hold the back side of the door. So if you've got a second person that can push on the back side of the door while you're lifting and pushing backwards against the door so you don't hurt the door closure piece right here, that always helps. So she helped me with the other door. I needed her help on the second one. So if you've got another person, like I said, that can stay on the back side of the door and push while you're lifting and pushing back on the door, that will help you a lot. Once that's on, we'll go ahead and connect, put the bolts back in, the 5.7 millimeters and the one Phillips. Again, you got your Phillips, and then your 7 mil in there, 2 7 mils down in your handhold, and then 2 at the very bottom of the door, 1 there and 1 there, as we did before. And then when you're done with that, we also have, don't forget your little lock piece just slides over the stem and screws down, screwing righty-tighty, right? So clockwise. I'm going to screw this down until it stops real quick. I say real quick, it's got like 100 threads on it. You'll see that goes up and down. And then we will go ahead and put those other, 6 bolts or something back in. And then I'll get back with you guys to show you that the power locks finally work. So, all right, see you guys soon. Okay, guys, I'm back. So we've tightened the bolts down there. I'll push that down and snap it in. We have this little piece here that covers the screw door or bolt door on the inside of here. So we'll take it, slide it in, pop it in there. That's done. This is closed and done. Bolts are in the bottom, bolts are in the back. So now I just need to reconnect the battery. And we'll give it a try real quick with the keyless entry and make sure this door and the other one on the other side works just fine. So give me just a second to get back, and we will test it out. Just reconnect the battery, and we got the lock and unlock. So right now both these back doors are unlocked. So with the lock button, let's see what happens here. Zoom in on that far side. This is the one that I replaced prior. Okay, and then we'll come back to this side. One we just did. Lock, unlock, and unlock. There it is. Lock, and then unlock again. So there it is. Both of those have been replaced. This didn't take me too terrible long. I would definitely put aside maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours on your first door. The next one probably close to an hour or so, maybe a little bit more. Depending upon, I'll tell you what, the hardest part of this entire thing really isn't the scaredness of what happens inside the door or anything. I want you guys to know getting these door panels off and on are probably the biggest pain in the butt of this whole thing. Good news is that Ford made a vehicle so that the door panels won't just come popping off like all the other riveted doors. These having those hooks, it's really nice because it's connected the plastic to the metal without it being able to just pull and fall off, unless those tabs, of course, break off. But they seem like they're built pretty well. So just remember, don't pry these doors straight off. You're going to have to lift them up to pull them out. So up and out is the idea because the hooks are L hooks. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. Again, we'll go ahead and lock, unlock. Wonderful. Love it. No more buzzing sounds or anything, and they actually work. You guys that have this issue knows exactly what I'm talking about, where you just hear a rant sound and that's all you get, and these things don't do anything. So I hope this has helped somebody. I noticed on YouTube there's not hardly any videos. There's only one guy doing it, and he said in the comments that he couldn't talk or show hardly anything the way things really need to be done because he had some wife issues. But anyway, like I said, we got our bolts in, blue thread locker, the child safety latch actually works now. We got these replaced. And just take your time, guys. Try to be patient with this. These are going to irritate you to take them off and on. Be ready to be slightly irritated with the door panels, and don't let it get the best of you guys. I hope this helps the do-it-yourselfers out there. And until next time, like I said, this is my first YouTube video, informational video. I hope this has helped somebody. Go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind liking my channel, like my video, whatever, subscribe. And I'll post the next video. Will be a reconditioning, resurfacing of the headlights on this. They're yellowed and cracked and stuff. So be watching my channel for that. Here in the next couple of days, I'll upload that video of how to redo your headlights, restore your headlights yourself. This will last for quite a while after you're done. So be ready to go from ugly headlights to brand new. Guys, again, thanks for watching this video. I've had a blast with it. It really hasn't been too bad at all. God bless, and hope you guys have a Merry Christmas over the next couple days. So that's it. I'll go ahead and end my video. You guys take it easy.